Good morning, everybody. Mr. Galena coming back here again at Spence Support Technology Department. Today's video is going to be on the introduction to AutoDesk Inventor and inserting a sketch and basics of extruding, adding parts and taking away from any piece that you guys are creating. So the first thing we're going to do over here is we're going to always go and create a new file. And whenever we want to make a new part, it always starts with the standard IPT. Now as we start here, you're going to see that the screen's going to pop up and you're going to get a lot of different features at the top. Now at first it's going to look a little intimidating, but don't let it fool you. We're going to concentrate mostly in this area right here. So whenever we want to start a part, we got to start in the two-dimensional world, and we're going to start with a 2D sketch. So click on 2D sketch. Now you're going to get this funky little XYZ sketch plane come up. I always like to start on the XY plane. Now this is like just putting a piece of paper down, so imagine this is just a piece of graph paper. And now you're just going to use some basic geometric shapes to create whatever part. So any intricate part you've ever seen in AutoCAD always started with some basic geometric shapes. And the first thing we're going to start here is we're just going to start with the rectangle command. I always like to start at the origin. You guys know this from math class. This is 0, 0. And this is where I like to start my part, and I always drag to the right. So right now I have a basic rectangle. I don't worry about dimensioning when I first start. I always go back in dimensioning. So again, those looking at home, want to review, I'm going to right click delete this. You're going to go to rectangle, start at the origin, drag it up, click, right click OK. Now I want to dimension that right click, that rectangle. Now I could zoom in with my mouse ball, I could zoom out with my mouse ball. I'm going to go to dimension, click on the line I want to dimension, and drag it up and click again. And I'm just going to make this a 2-inch, zoom out, by 2-inch rectangle. Now if you want to change these dimensions, let's just say you messed up and you want to change these dimensions, you could double click on a dimension, and let's just say, maybe I want it 2.5 inches. Maybe I wanted 3 inches. Same thing on this side. Perfect. Zoom out. Now, this isn't much of a shape or an object because it's in the two-dimensional world. We want to put this into the three-dimensional world. And this is where you go with this button, Finish Sketch. Now take note, you guys have been doing these drawings. This is now in the Isometric View. So if I want to bring this into the three-dimensional world, I now have some new commands up here, and take note, they all kind of have like a shape or a depth to them, right? So this is 3 dimensions. So anytime you want to add to a part, you're going to extrude it. So I go to the extrude feature, I click on the face that I want to extrude, and by default it makes it gives material to the part. So we're going to start, and we're going to make this just a cube. So if we were 3 by 3 and we want to make this a cube, we'll just make this 3 inches. Now I have a 3-dimensional shape here, as you can see, and over here I'm able to rotate the shape in case I want to work on different sides. And you're going to use this feature a lot. So all you do is just click on the cube here, turn it around wherever you want to work. And if you ever want to go home to the original spot, just click the home button. This gives us the isometric. So if you were drawing these in your DDP class, this would be the front view, the side view, and the top view of your object. Alright, so now let's go and take away some portion of this. So if I want to work on a specific plane, I need to put a sketch plane on it. So just like you did at the beginning, you go to 2D sketch, you click the side that you want, and now all of your drawing is done in the two-dimensional world. So for this side, we know how to do square. Let's do a circle. So I'm going to click the circle command, and I'm just going to put a circle anywhere right now, and I don't care what the size of it is. I'm going to go then and dimension it, and let's just make this an 1.5 inch circle. And I want this circle right in the middle of this object. So there's a few different ways I can go about doing this. I could try to move it, but I just like the dimension because I know what the basic dimensions are. So if I go dimension this center point to this line, and I make this 1.5, so I know it's a 3" by 3" cube, and I go from this center point to this line, 1.5. Now I know that that circle is directly in the middle of our object. So what I want to do here is I want to make this circle, I want to cut that shape out. So let's finish our sketch. Same thing, now we're going to extrude cut. So right now we know here is creating the object or making it go out. The next one is the cut feature. Now you can cut specific depths, you can cut all the way through an object, you can cut to the next shape, but in this case I'm going to cut all the way through. I know it's 3 inches. I'm just going to press OK. So now if I rotate this object, I have a hole all the way through. Everybody see that? If I ever want to go home, I just hit the home button and it'll bring it back here. Now let's put a shape on the top. 2D sketch. We want to work on this place now. Now what I want to do is I want to put another series of circles, but I want to put 4 circles at each corner. And you can kind of see how it like defaults line everything up, which is great. Now I want these circles to be specifically 0.5 of an inch, so a half of an inch. So the program is pretty smart. It knows that I was making these circles, and it knows that ones are lined up, so it changed this one as well. Now I'm going to change this to 0.5, and I'm going to go change this to 0.5. In later lessons, we're going to show you how to use your geometric constraints, but this is the easy way to do it. Now I also want these to be dimensioned 0.5 from the edges. So I'm going to go around center point to here, 0.5. I'm going to do that for all of these. Same thing here, we're almost done. So this is if you're adding some bolts to an object, if you need holes to go all the way through with some type of pattern so that something will seat inside of an object. But right now we have 1/2 inch circles that are a 1/2 inch from each of the edges. So if we want to cut these or add something to this, we would go finish sketch. And anytime we want to cut or add to a shape, we go extrude. And in this case, I'm going to highlight each one of these guys. 1, 2, 3. Oop, not that one. Redo. Extrude. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we want to just make these 0.5. So we're going to add to our object, and we're going to make these 0.5. We'll be consistent with our measurements. So we're creating like little studs coming out of this object. So as you see here, we have these 4 little studs, and we have this hole that goes all the way through. We're going to do one more operation, and we're going to do it on this side view here. We're going to go sketch. Again, it's like putting a piece of graph paper on the side. And now we're in a 2-dimensional world. And all we're going to do is just a little rectangular inlay. So we're going to go to the rectangle button. And we're just going to do like a little picture frame here. So you make it whatever size. And we're just going to go dimensions. So we'll go from here to here. And we'll use that number that we like right now, 0.5. We'll make a, nah, that looks too big. Let's go 0.25. We're just going to make a little picture frame. And what I like to call this is I like to call this an inlay. So we have the exterior of the picture frame, and then we have this rectangle on the inside. So let's finish this sketch. Now we're going to go to extrude. We're going to highlight the inside, but we don't want it to come out. We want it to go in, and we just talked about that. So we want to do cut, and let's go in 0.25, so 1/4 of an inch. So what we have here is what we created is a happy little picture frame, if you could see this. And if you click this little rolly ball here and you hold down your mouse ball and you click, you're able to move it around with a little bit more finesse than if you were to use and toggle this cube up here. So to get it home, if you want to have a little bit more finesse, you'll use the orbit ball. So you'll click on that, you'll hold down your mouse, and now I can move this around as well. So right now what we learned is we learned how to create three-dimensional objects. We learned how to put sketch planes on different surfaces. We learned how to cut all the way through. We learned how to dimension, and we learned how to create basic inlays. Thank you for listening to the basic intro to extrusion lessons in Autodesk Inventor.